everyone, Jamieleigh here from BirdTricks, and today's video is about basic care for pet budgies.
Not a budgie.
Not a budgie. But adorable. Send me your baby birds to train.
Baby or a budgie?
I said budgie. Budgie, seriously, this is not about baby birds. The number one mistake I see actually made with pretty much all species of parrot is the food that you get the bird on from the pet store or whomever you keep it on. And this is a really big mistake for budgies because they usually come on a store-bought seed mix that is of very low quality. So if it has sugars, fillers, dyes, all of that sort of stuff, you want to make your own homemade seed mix. I have another video on my channel talking about and sharing the homemade seed mix that I make for my own budgie. So please check it out, and that should be the number one thing that you change right away, is switching just that quality of seed mix from the crappy pet store quality to your homemade quality right there at home. I do understand that this part can be very confusing because a lot of pet store brands and food label companies put labels on their pellets or on their seed mixes saying this is a complete diet, even though it has dried fruit and all sorts of colored pellets. I've even seen bird pellets shaped as dog bones. What were they thinking? Anyways, if you come across something that is a complete diet and can be 100% fed to your bird all of the time, research it. Look at the ingredients on the label and check and see if that seed mix is brittle and if there's a lot of broken parts at the very bottom, because usually there are, and that's a high sign that there is something not so great about that seed mix. Now, the cool thing about changing to a homemade seed mix is not only the quality of the mix goes up, but also the treat value of seeds in general for your bird goes way up. So now you can suddenly use spray millet as a reward for your small bird that you may have gotten away with to some extent, but not to the extent that you're about to progress with now that you've switched to a homemade seed mix. Now, this part of the budgie care I won't dive in too deeply on because I get a little crazy about this. Me with birds, me with humans. On my channel, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that diet is a big thing for me. I want our birds to be on the best, most high quality diet possible, and that includes the little guys. So yes, budgies can eat fresh food, not only sprouts that you could even sprout at home or buy in your grocery store, but also they need a very good high quality seasonal feeding system like the one I give in my cookbook recipes, and this provides year-round nutrition that kind of fills in the gaps with pellets. So if you can really make an effort to give the best diet to your bird, small birds especially tend to like crunchier textures, so make them part of the food prep and part of the fun so they can discover and explore that head of cauliflower and then how it's chopped into pieces and then how it's food processed in the end, so that they get to see it in all those varieties and forms. It goes a long way in diet conversion, and we need to be getting those healthy vegetables and foods into our small birds just as much as the medium and large. Another thing that's really important for basic budgie care is having a wider cage than you have tall. Most birds will not utilize the space that is down here on a tall cage because birds tend to be up high, and they like it up high because that means safety instinctively to them. So the wider cage you can get, the more active they will be in that environment. So really think about that when you're looking for the perfect and ideal cage. Also, flight cages are awesome. I prefer walk-in aviaries myself. I love when I can walk into the bird's enclosure. I get that that's not usually in the budget of budgie owners. However, if you can do it, it's fantastic. I screened in my outdoor porch so that in the nice months, my budgie can just fly around, get fresh air, and also get some desensitization on a daily basis during those nice months. So just remember that when you're cage shopping, always go wider than you are going tall. The other thing I want to say when it comes to cages is things that aren't cages. So foraging trees, play stands, other cage-less environments that you can provide around your house for your budgie to have as play zones. We all have plenty of no zones in our house that we don't want our birds to be at, but we need lots of yes zones too, so that they have a lot of variety and can even help themselves to flying from which place they want to be at. For example, my budgie Blueberry, she actually lives cageless most of the time in my home, and she will tend to sleep in my room, so she'll fly to the foraging tree in there, usually around 5 or 6 p.m. and put herself to bed. It tends to be the darkest and quietest room earlier on in our day and our lifestyle, so that's where she prefers to sleep, which is really cool that she can kind of tell us that. So consider putting cage-less activities for your bird that are safe around your home. This next one is a fun one. Now, I know a lot of people say that their birds don't like bathing, and they tend to try the wrong tactics when it comes to small birds. Small birds, if you notice them in the wild, they tend to find wet grass, or they find little shallow puddles, and they like to just brush around and roll around in it. Now, you want to implement that in captivity. So you can buy wheatgrass, you can sprout your own wheatgrass, and if you just give it some spritz and sprays where it's nice and wet, usually your budgie will have a great time crawling all around and rubbing itself around the grass and having a good old time, just as they would do in the wild. Also, a shallow dish for bathing goes a long way with budgies. You can tap your fingers in there and splash around a little bit just to get them going, and eventually you can even use a spray bottle to train, but usually the small birds, they're a little bit more receptive to these more instinctive and natural ways that they would bathe in the wild. So definitely give it a go. It's also a great way to get them interested in fresh food. If you make sure it's a little bit wet, they're a little bit more receptive. That's how I first got my budgie Blueberry interested in sprouts, is I just spritzed them down and she came over and walked all over them and had a great time. So playing with their food is actually a good thing in the bird world. This next one will keep you really in tune with your bird's eating habits, and that is weighing your budgie every single day. Now, the reason I say every single day is that way you can really get a good read on whether you're having weight loss or weight gain, and it can notify you of illness before there's any obvious signs. When it comes to birds, when there's obvious signs of illness, it's usually too late, which is just a sad reality of having birds in captivity. So getting in the habit of weighing your bird daily is pretty important. I've trained and conditioned my bird Blueberry, who is a blue budgie, that every morning when she wants breakfast, she flies to the scale. And it's a really cute behavior. I love it. I have gotten to the point where I can just tap on the top of the scale and she flies in from wherever she's at. And this is something that I do before every single meal for her. So I actually weigh her twice a day. It's really easy. I keep it on the island of my kitchen, and so it's always accessible. Now, this is something that I've toyed with. If I don't have a scale readily accessible, it's almost an out of sight, out of mind thing. So I would highly recommend keeping your scale someplace where you are reminded to use it often enough. The cool thing is I know exactly how many grams she should be in the morning. I know how many grams she's going to be after eating. It's just a really cool thing where when you get in the groove and understand the weight of your bird, that you know when to interact just by the weight of your bird. And you know whether or not they're going to be receptive or not, or if they're just going to be so stuffed and full that they aren't going to do anything that you ask. So it's kind of a cool thing where I can really gauge if she's going to be awesome at trick training, if she's going to be into flight training, if she's going to be content just to hang out with me. It tells you a lot and gets you in tune health-wise with your bird where you should be. So I think this is something that goes not done as much with small birds as it is with medium and large. So please make sure you do this as part of your basic budgie care. Now, I know budgies seem super tiny, like they shouldn't be able to give blood. But in reality, they can. The first time I took my budgie Blueberry in for her annual, I was a nervous wreck, just thinking, because I'm used to having a bit larger birds, with my sun conures being part of my smallest flock at 100 grams. My budgie Blueberry is only around 30 grams. So the thought of her giving blood was just stressing me out. However, yes, they can give blood, and you should be doing annual exams with your budgie to make sure that everything is looking great. You don't need any supplements or to make any changes to the diet. It's something that you should be on top of with your entire flock, big or small, and make a yearly thing. It's called an annual exam for a reason, so please be on top of that. It just ensures that you're doing right by your bird every single year and gives you time to make changes if you need to. One of the things I hear about for people not doing the annual exam or any exam is that my budgie seems perfectly healthy. That's a great time to do your annual exam. That way you have the best numbers and the best blood work possible to compare to when you have an inkling of a feeling that your budgie's just not feeling right. So ideally, when your bird is feeling great, those are the stats you want so that you can compare them later on when you have a scare or year to year to make sure that you're actually keeping on track. This is one we encounter all the time with small birds, and that is giving a small bird a mirror. Mostly with budgies, but I see it with other small birds too. Now, my budgie Blueberry was on a road trip with me, and we were staying at a hotel that had a closet that was just mirrored doors. And when she discovered that, she flew to the ground and was obsessed with her image. What this does is it leads to extreme hormonal behavior where birds will actually start regurgitating on the mirrors. They get excessive egg laying. They just go into hormone overdrive, and it leads to a lot of issues, especially with female birds if they do start the egg laying process. It's a scary thing if it becomes a really chronic thing. So please avoid triggering hormones if you can help it, and don't intentionally give your bird a mirror. Now, this is different than your bird understanding where the bathroom is in your house and finding its way there. I'm talking about the little mirrors that you actually place as a cage toy. I would highly discourage you guys from doing that, as well as anything reflective such as bells or what have you. It's much better to give birds, especially budgies, things that they can actually destroy. Blueberries, one of her favorite things is cork bark and mahogany pods, which are two materials that we love incorporating into my organic exclusive toy line, which is my BirdTricks toy line, and it goes into my BirdTricks boxes. So if you want to ask specifically for a custom box, you can always special request things with certain size requirements or certain materials that your bird is really receptive to. Another thing that Blueberry really likes is yucca wood or the kebab line that we carry, so definitely check out my bird toy boxes to see if you can find something that your budgie loves to destroy versus something that it loves to puke on. Speaking of toys, I actually came out with a tiny toy box. Now, this was inspired by my budgie Blueberry because she actually plays with all sizes of toys, but it made me realize that my small toys were actually pretty darn big in comparison to her little 30-gram body. So I thought, how many other bird owners are feeling this way, and let's make an exclusive line. Now, my toys are still a little bit big because we had a hard time sizing them down. We just got overly excited in the creation process. But if you have a special design that you want to give us that inspires something that's made exclusively, we love getting that kind of creativity sent our way so that I can pass it on to my toy designer and we can make something really unique and special. So we're always open to that, but in the meantime, check out my tiny toy box. It comes with 8 tiny toys for your tiny bird. Did I say my budgie Blueberry way too many times? How many times did I say that? Think I can say it 3 times fast? My budgie Blueberry, my budgie Blueberry, my budgie Blueberry. Yes! I nailed it!
Nailed it.
You try.
My budgie Blueberry, my budgie Blueberry, my budgie Blueberry.
It's not that hard. Turns out it's not that hard.
That's what she said.
Oh. On that note, please like and subscribe if this video helped you. I'm always excited to read your guys' comments, so please leave them down below and check out the video description for a link to my tiny toy box. P.S. Can you do a P.S. in a video? Anyways, I'm doing it. P.S. If you join my mailing list over at birdtricks.com, you'll be the first to know about upcoming promotions, including when things are brand new and go out for the very first time, and get in on those special discounts. So don't forget to go over to birdtricks.com and subscribe.